Welcome to Not Starving Artist, the podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Benson, money coach and equity actor. I am your financial cheerleader, here to help you build your financial confidence and have power over your money. The best part, no budgeting or bi-weekly paychecks required. I went from being a broke BFA grad having weekly panic attacks about money to a financially confident, wealth-building actor and business owner. Money gets to feel fun, simple, and sexy, and I am going to show you how. Before we dive into the episode, I am so excited to share with you that my brand new online course, Cashed Up Creatives, is officially out now. Now, this course is for my artists with neurospicy brains, my bi-weekly paycheck cuties who just don't want a budget, or anyone who wants to get out of that paycheck to paycheck cycle and finally experience financial wellness. This course is for you. It's gonna help you get 3 months ahead on bills. It's gonna help you pay off debt while you still take vacations. It's gonna help you manage your fluctuating or consistent income with ease. You're gonna be able to confidently talk to your parents or partner about your money decisions. You're gonna be able to open a retirement account and invest your first or next $500. You're always gonna have surplus in your bank account, and it's gonna teach you how to ditch your scarcity mindset so you can feel abundant with money. Now, this is a self-study course, meaning that when you make your one-time payment of $247, you have immediate access to the course content for life. And on top of lifetime access, the best part about what I'm sharing with you today is that for the rest of 2025, I am going to be hosting live monthly office hours for anyone who has joined the course. Totally for free, included with the price that you pay for the course itself. I, of course, recommend joining as soon as possible because the earlier you join, the more of those monthly office hours calls that you are going to get to attend. I cannot wait to see you inside and to help you get cashed up. Hello, everyone. We are now officially in the second half of my 10-week series, Unlock Abundance, the 10 money affirmations that are going to make you richer in 2025. And if you haven't been here for the first 5 weeks, that is okay. The first 5 weeks are not a prerequisite to enjoy the next 5 weeks. But I also encourage you to find the ones that activate you the most. I want you to download these episodes. So 6 months from now, I want you to come back and listen to the episode again and see what comes up for you that's totally new. Mindset work is like a complicated math problem. So when you think about math, we can easily do 2 plus 2 in our head, but if you try and do 371 times 7 divided by 12 plus 7, right? You can't do that in your brain. You need to get out a piece of paper and work out the problem. That doesn't mean the problem is unsolvable. You just need to get it down on paper. So same with mindset work. Taking intentional time to get out your journal and work through a mindset problem, something that's coming up, that's how you solve it. So enjoy this second half of the series, Unlock Abundance, the 10 money affirmations that are going to make you richer in 2025. Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 10, the final day of money affirmations that actually work. The 10-day series helping you take mindset work and make it actually have an effect on your bank accounts. So this week, I feel like it has been nice to do this affirmation series during right now with what's happening in the world, because I think it's sometimes, right, moving through days on weeks like this, watching the LA fires, right? And again, just what's happening with the world now. You are waking up and seeing headlines every single day that can terrify you. And so for me, this affirmation series has not only had me deepening my beliefs and my narratives around money, but I think it's just gotten me back into the practice of getting in my journal and processing through shit. Some of the stuff that I've been doing in my journal this week and that I've been thinking about it's sort of come from the affirmations, but it's more the act of sitting down to do some reflection where something different has come up that actually isn't about the affirmation. It's about me having to process through some feelings or feel through some stuff. Or think about how do I actually want to craft my life moving forward? So some of those big questions have come up for me, and questions around how do I continue to feel safe and stable in a world that continues to feel less safe and less stable, right? How do I give myself like regulating my nervous system, but giving myself safety. What do I need? And so what this has caused for me, this affirmation series, has actually caused a almost 2-week period of resting and taking things slow, and every single day reminding myself that I don't have to just like keep pushing and keep going and keep doing. Like, what do I actually need? When I'm diving into an affirmation, it always brings me back to, what do I need? What's required of this day? What's going on in my brain? Like, there's something about the reflection that this has caused over the past 10 days that I think has helped to really ground me, regardless of the actual affirmations that we've been working on. So I'm curious to know if you've been doing this series for the 10 days, even if this is just your first day tuning in. I'd love to know some of the effects or things that have come up for you, the unexpected results, or not even results, but just effects that have happened for you during this series. Like, again, for me, what I was saying is it's just caused me to slow down and reflect a lot more on, what does my body need? What do I need during this time? Especially as the year is kicking off. Like, I did a podcast episode last Friday about New Year's resolutions and how there's this energy of like, get up and go, new year, new me energy. And even if you don't subscribe to that, you feel it in the air. And like, it does feel like you get pulled on like okay, and now it's a fucking new year, time to go. And I never feel like the year really starts until April, partly because that's my birthday, partly because that's the astrological new year, partly because January just still feels mucky and weird. So to be able to have this time of reflection and pausing, and every single day sitting down, asking my brain questions and letting my body process some stuff, has been a lovely reminder that like, I get to go at my pace, right? You get to go at your pace. With the start of this new year, going back to the podcast episode that was released last week, it was New Year's resolutions that actually stick. And it's about, how do you make things sustainable and long-term rather than like a quick hit fix or result, right? How do you actually have longevity in your financial results? And a lot of that is like slow and steady, tortoise in the hare, right? And not that I believe that your results have to be slow. I think you can still have fast results, but it's about the process being something that you could imagine doing for the next 30 years. Right? And so a lot of times that is going to require a less forceful plan, a less forceful energy. And so bringing that into now what we're doing with our affirmations, going deep every single day for these 10 days has been like an intensive, right? Like a 10-day intensive into your mindset. But now that you've done a lot of this work, now that you've done a lot of journaling for the past 10 days, you've activated these affirmations for yourself, you've started to create your cashed up manifesto. If none of these things are making sense to you, if this is your first day tuning in, make sure to watch the other days, like watch 1 through 10, and you'll understand what these things mean. But as you're doing that now, you're out of the intensive, but now it's your job to like shift the lifestyle, bring this into your every single day, using some of the tools and tips that we've talked about over these past 10 days to take the intensive work that you've been doing and continue to infuse it in your day-to-day life so that these mindset shifts are sustainable and long-term, and they're not just like, oh, that 10 days I felt really high vibe, and then like you totally forget about it and you're back in your like normal scarcity patterns, right? So taking this and moving it into long-term pattern changes. So I'm going to go through all of the affirmations that we've done so far. And then we have one final affirmation. It is affirmation number 2, which I'm so excited to talk about today. And that is where we will end our 10-day series. So affirmations so far in the series have been, I release all resistance to attracting money. I am in control of my financial destiny. My wealth is a positive force for good in the world. Making money is easy and enjoyable. I handle my finances with clarity and confidence. Every dollar I spend circulates and returns to me multiplied. I am worthy of a prosperous life. My income is constantly increasing. I always have enough. Okay, are we ready for the final day? Today's affirmation is, I gratefully accept all the wealth and abundance the world has to offer me. I gratefully accept all the wealth and abundance the world has to offer me. So sit with that. With every single affirmation, first thing is, what did your brain do and what did your body do? What are the immediate things that came up? When we're listening, when we're like trying to tune into our gut intuition, when we're trying to figure out how we actually feel about something, your immediate reactions are the best data, right? So whatever happened in your body and whatever happened in your brain, that's the subconscious conditioning. Immediately what comes up, that's what's the soundtrack that's running. That's the baseline narrative. So I would love to know if you are here live and you would like to share what came up for you. I gratefully accept all the wealth and abundance the world has to offer me. So again, what I normally do is I go to my journal first because my brain is loud. So I have to talk to her first before she'll let my body speak up. So first thing is I'm going to journal. I gratefully accept all the wealth and abundance the world has to offer me. I like that, right? Like my immediate thought is, yeah, if the world wants to offer me wealth and abundance, I'm in. Hell yeah. Let's do it. Excitement comes up for me. I love that, Kathleen. Yes. So like the immediate thing that comes up is like, hell yeah. Let's see more of that. I'm in. Let's do it. So whenever I have that kind of reaction, I'm like, that doesn't feel deep. Like I'm excited about it, but there's something that feels disconnected with this one of like, it's just an immediate yes, great, but I think there needs to be some deepening. I want to feel a little more. I want to kind of feel at an edge with every affirmation that I have. With the affirmations that I put in my Cashed Up manifesto or that I'm using in my day-to-day life, I want there to feel like I'm kind of on the edge of something, right? Of like, I want to believe this is true and I am working on believing it. And like, this feels so exciting because it's new to me. And so there's a little bit, I don't have that much of an edge with this one. So that means I need to deepen it, right? To make it drop into my body. So I gratefully accept all the wealth and abundance the world has to offer. Now, I knew this affirmation was coming up, so I've been thinking about it for the past day when I knew this was going to be our final one. And so one of the things that I was thinking about is I gratefully accept all the wealth and abundance the world has to offer me as long as I create it. So I realized there's a caveat for me with the wealth and abundance that I am willing to accept. As long as I create it and I earn it and it's coming directly to me via things that I provide, I value my skill set and my worth in work, in career, in service, in what I provide to the world. So hell yeah, flow in the money through my business, through my acting career, through things I provide to the world. Now, what I realized was the caveat was like when I was thinking about all the ways the world could provide me abundance, this actually came from someone I was talking to recently who their partner makes a lot of money. So they're an artist and they are living very paycheck to paycheck. They have this partner who they've been with for a while who makes so much money and lives in this amazing apartment that she cannot afford. But he has offered, he's like, come live with me. I want you to live with me. And for her, she will not live with him until she can pay for 50% of the rent. But he's not going to move, and he's created this wealth and this lifestyle that he really loves, but she refuses to move in with him because she wants to pay 50%, right? And now let me be very clear. However you decide to split bills and whatever you decide you feel is important for you financially to contribute, whatever, like there's a lot of layers here. But what I was thinking about in this story was I was like, I have a flavor of that, of like, I will gratefully receive wealth and abundance if it comes from me, through me, only through me. But let's say my partner, I mean, this is something I had to do, me having to become a dependent on his health insurance plan, accepting that gift, right, from his work that I didn't earn, that like I kind of feel like, and even being labeled as a dependent, like me as a woman who has built her life full of independence and freedom, and I've got my own back. I don't require anyone to take care of me. That was one of the big things of me destroying the starving artist trope within myself, is that I don't ever want to be thinking about shacking up with someone just for their money? Or like, wouldn't it be great if I could marry someone who's rich so I never had to worry about money, right? No, I was going to have my own back, right? So I could be financially independent, financially autonomous always. But what happened was I swung way far the other way, where it was hard for me to accept the fact that I wouldn't have to pay for health insurance because my partner's company will see me as a dependent and I can get free health insurance through my partner. Like there was a disconnect there where I was like, wait, but like, let's split it up. Like I'll pay my half. And he was like, I don't want you to like pay your half. Like, I don't like that. Right. And we've been together for a long time now. It like makes sense. But there was this part of me that didn't want to receive this gift that was being given to me through nothing that I had like given or earned or accepted. Like, right? There wasn't like an exchange of goods where then I was able to receive the abundance. It was just a gift freely given. I struggle here too. Has to be earned or in some way matched. Exactly. So this person that I was talking to, right? Knowing that, and again, there's lots of layers here. There would be many more conversations about the relationship and the mindset and the money conversations and the desires for the future. But if we just take it at face value, right? And let's just say that like, this is the way that the universe was trying to provide for her financially because she has this art that she's wanting to put into the world. And for whatever reason right now, the channel for money to come to her through that art is not open right now, or it's going to open in the future, but she needs more space and like some breathing room in order to create the art that is going to create that channel. So the universe is like, hey, like, here's a partner who can provide a wonderful housing situation for you, can provide you with like financial stability for the time being. Go enjoy it. But because she's, channeled, like decided that only this one channel is the way that wealth and abundance can come to her, she shut it off in other ways. I'll give you another example. There is a client of mine who she went through a divorce and ended up hitting her FIRE number, which means financial independence. All of her investments can pay for her life forever and ever. Amen. That's what hitting your FIRE number means. Financial independence, retire early. So she was a working mom, right? And was married. And then they got divorced. And when they split the assets, she got half of those assets and she was able to hit her FIRE number. But we had to do a lot of work on believing that that money was hers. When we were planning and working through, like, what's your money plans? What are your goals? When do you want to retire? Because she hadn't quit her job yet. There was a lot of things we were working through. And every single conversation for like 2 months straight, she kept forgetting about the investment money. Or she was like, but that money doesn't count. That money doesn't count. And I'm like, it absolutely fucking counts, right? And so we had to do some work around believing that that money was hers. We did some work around all the work that she put in her family and her household to earn that money. So that was like the first way in that her brain could get behind, is like, how did you actually earn this money during that time in your life, right? But then there's this second layer of like, even if she hadn't earned it, it's still in her bank account and she gets to gratefully receive the wealth and abundance that was given to her. So this leads me into resisting ease when it comes to money. Sometimes you will get financial abundance that feels too easy and too good to be true. I have another client. We actually just had a refresh session. We worked together last year through the beginning of last year, and she's had 2 refresh sessions with me. If you're a one-on-one client, you can book a call with me like after our packages end. If a new thing comes up or you have a change of lifestyle, you can like book a one-off call with me so we can refresh, look at your money flow, or talk through some mindset stuff. And this client, she said this, she was like, I just feel like I keep getting paid to not work. And I'm like, yes, you are so good at getting paid to not work. When she left her last job because she was burnt out and she was taking a sabbatical, she was saying that when she got made redundant, basically. And so she got this huge severance package that paid for like a year of her expenses. And then recently she got made redundant again, and she's getting another severance package. And because of how quickly the redundancy happened, like she basically got paid way more to do way less work than she was originally contracted for. And now she has another season of like semi-sabbatical to figure out what her next steps are. So we were talking about her, and this was another thing that we did, of like fully accepting that money and not feeling guilty for it, right? It's like, that is the universe trying to give you financial abundance and wealth, but it's your own thought of like, but I didn't earn this. I didn't work hard for it. This came way too easily. There's gotta be strings attached, or the other shoe is gonna drop, or for whatever reason, there's a reason why I'm given all this extra money because something bad is gonna happen in the future. When my parents sold their house recently, they made way more money on it than they expected to, right? And there was a thought of like, why are we getting this much money? Like, this doesn't feel right. This feels like we're being given this money because something bad is about to happen. And that wasn't the overarching feeling, but there was like a teeny little flavor of that when they were talking about it right when it happened. Because of course, when money comes that easily, we're not used to money coming that easily. We're used to, especially if you live here, right, in this capitalistic society, it's like hustle, grind, you got to make the money, you got to work, you got to put the hours in. And so when money comes not from that energy, it feels like, ooh, this is a scam. This is a scam. I think that's part of why people don't believe high yield savings accounts are actually real and not a scam, and why you may have been avoiding putting your money into a high yield savings account, because you're making money by doing nothing, right? Same with investing. Same with the stock market. Like, we've been so wired to think that like we have to earn every single dollar. But with investing in the stock market, your money is making money by you doing nothing. And it is virtually zero risk when you start early. Like, if you invest your money for over 10 years, virtually zero risk, right? And that feels too good to be true. That feels like, no, that's actually passive income. Wait, I can actually like I invest $7,000 a year right now. And if I don't, like, I maxed out my IRA. And if I don't, because I started so early, even if I don't invest any more than just $7,000 a year, I'm going to have almost $2 million in retirement for me, right? So like, but that feels too easy. That feels too good to be true, right? But having to do work on like, what are all of the ways that the universe is trying to bring you money, to flood abundance to you, but you've cut it off because you've decided there's a caveat, right? Again, the caveats that have been coming up these past few days. A reminder to anyone who just joined. Our affirmation today is, I gratefully accept all the wealth and abundance the world has to offer me. I gratefully accept all of the abundance the world has to offer me. So, where have you created rules on how wealth and abundance can flow to you? This is what I was talking about yesterday when like I've decided to make some different business shifts to have some more avenues open to me earning money and receiving money in my business, but then also in other income creating endeavors. In my acting career, having to even go deeper into dismantling my starving artist trope, where my first layer of dismantling the starving artist trope was, I'm going to be an artist and I'm going to have financial abundance, right? And I will not let my creative passions or my financial desires, they're not going to be at war with each other. I'm going to figure out how to have them both. And so what that created was, I'm going to take the pressure off of my art to make money, and I'm going to figure out other ways to make money to give me the financial reality that I desire while I do my art. But now I'm realizing there's this next level of, okay, and then what if I open up money-making avenues in my artistic life, where I kind of shut it off and I like don't even think about making money in my artistic career. And then this past year, I made $2,200 in my acting career, which isn't a ton, but it's more than the $0 from the year before, right? And so I'm seeing now money come in my acting career, and it kind of hit me where I was like, what? Like, I don't think about making money from my art. And I think it was good that I didn't at the beginning because I took the pressure off of my art. But I think I accidentally put up a wall and a block of like, money doesn't come in that avenue. So we're not even going to think about it. What if I open that up a little bit? What would that look like to open that avenue up? And I'm not sure. That's something I would have to journal on. So then also, where are the other places where money's trying to flow to you that you shut off? Now, the other thing I want to say here too is there are definitely also financial gifts, specifically, I'm thinking like between family members or people in your life that come with strings, right? Where it's like, yes, I'll help you buy the house, but now I'm going to get to stay anytime I want. Yes, I'm going to help you pay for the wedding, but now I have creative control and you're going to have to do what I want, right? Yes, I'm going to give you this financial gift, but that means I now get to have a say in how you manage your money, and I'm going to share my opinions with you loudly and all the time. So knowing if there are strings attached, right? And deciding whether you want to subscribe to those strings, right? Because there are, and I'm giving like vague examples, but there are some strings that you created in your own brain that don't actually exist, that you could just remove, right? So if someone gives you a financial gift and they have no strings, but you feel guilty, now you've created some strings with your guilt, right? But then there are other scenarios where like, I mean, I have watched so many parents get involved with clients and friends' weddings that then they're mad about decisions that are being made and things get messy and sticky. Like, those are very real strings. And like accepting the gift, you can have a very clear conversation about what this gift means, or you can choose not to accept the gift. So I also want to put that in there as like, that exists as well. Being aware that money is trying to flow to you, gifts are trying to flow to you, and you get to decide what strings have you created that you can just release, and what strings are actually there that you could actually release and make them upset. And that's just what that is, because when you put boundaries up, right, some people are going to get upset. Or is it something where you just don't want to enter into that kind of energetic exchange with the person that the money is flowing through? So you do have autonomy here. But the difference here is that you're acknowledging, wow, I see that money's trying to come to me. I am going to choose to not receive it that way because I know it comes with this, this, and this, and that's what I don't want. Universe, show me another avenue. What else do I need to open up so that I can receive money in a way that doesn't have those strings, right? Like, you can journal on that. You can ask that of the universe, of yourself, in your brain. So again, for those of you who just joined, our affirmation today is, I gratefully accept all the wealth and abundance the world has to offer me. So what happened in your brain and what happened in your body? The other thing I wanted to say when it comes to being women, right? We want to be financially autonomous. Financial autonomy, I think, is the most important gift you can give yourself, especially as a woman. Not depending on anyone else for finances. Now, with that being said, I think that also sometimes puts up a block of us allowing ourselves to be cared for, of us allowing ourselves to be spoiled, right? Especially if you're in a heterosexual marriage, partnership, whatever, you're with a man, like you're in that like traditional gender norm structure. I know I feel that, right? Even I'll tell you an example with my partner and I, where this wasn't about money, but it was this block about being cared for and taken care of. Because for a while, like, there was a point in our relationship where I was supporting us financially because my business was making a lot of money. He was in a job transition, right? That was a point in our life. So now that we're in New York, we're about even now. Like, we're both sitting at the same level financially. And I think there's like an adjustment that I've had to make of like getting to lean back and be cared for by my partner. So he gets HelloFresh meal kits, and I don't like to be beholden. I don't love commitment. Like, this is why I was afraid to sign a lease for so long. And it's more like I like to have flexibility and movement. And so like signing up for a meal kit just felt like I don't want to commit to these meals. I don't want to have to cook. Like, I'm on my own grocery schedule. Like, I just don't want to do it. But for him, he was like, these meal kits really work for me, but he doesn't like leftovers. So he was like, just eat these meals with me. And I was like, oh no, but like, that means I want to like pay for half of the meal kits. I want to support this. Like, I want to be a part of it. And he was like, what if you just didn't though? What if the meal kits were me and you just shared these meals with me? And it's crazy how big of a block I had about that, right? And so I had to do some work on myself. I was like, Brooke, why are you so resistant to being fed by your partner? That's insane, right? But it's not insane. It's actually not insane. And this is what I want to say too. Sometimes when we're like doing this journaling work and we're diving in, it's like, that's crazy. Like what I just wrote down, that's crazy. But why is it actually not crazy? Why is it not insane? And why it's not insane is because a core belief I have is that I will fully support myself. I will not need anyone else. Right? I will be able to fully support my artistic lifestyle, etc. on my own dime, right? I will not be dependent on anyone. I will have autonomy. So it makes sense that of course I don't want to be cared for in that way without me having to like provide something there of like the cooking part or the financial part, right? Like that felt strange to me. That felt foreign. So I was like, it makes sense because it feels foreign. But then also I realized I wanted some other beliefs alongside. I will always have autonomy, financially and otherwise. I will always be independent. I will always be able to take care of myself. And I'm willing to be spoiled. And I allow myself to be taken care of. If someone desires to take care of me, I will let them, right? I get to lean back and take a breath and be cared for, right? So there were caveats that then I wanted to add to what I had decided, right? Of like, I will always be independent and I'm going to let myself be cared for. I'm going to let myself be spoiled. I'm going to let myself have meals cooked for me, right? I'm going to let myself have a plate of food appear in front of me that was made by my man and paid for by my man, and I'm just going to enjoy it. And I think there's something about that, like as independent women who value our independence, there's something that can be hard about that. And so this was a very small example, but it goes into the bigger financial picture, right? If there's money that's trying to be flowed through other avenues that are not just like you hustling and grinding, making it happen, how can we receive those? And then asking yourself, like, what would I need? What would be required in order for me to receive those? So for example, like, I'm going to let my man cook dinner for me and make meals for me pretty much every night of the week and provide my health insurance. But I know that if for whatever reason he switches jobs and his job can't provide health insurance anymore, or he decides to like stop getting the meal kits, I know that I won't be like destitute, right? I know that I could still afford my health insurance, or I would figure out how to make health insurance come into my life, right? So there's this like internal belief in my confidence in myself, my abilities, my scrappiness to make something work, to make something happen, right? So this is why it's different than like, you know, the trad wife movement that's been going around. Like, I don't want you going into trad wife territory. And that, if you don't know this trad wife movement that was on TikTok, it's going viral. It's like, there are women who are wanting to like revert to like, I just want to be like a stay-at-home girlfriend or a stay-at-home girl where I cook and I clean and whatever, which is lovely if that's what you desire. But it's kind of gone in a direction of like, now you've given up your autonomy. And I think everyone, not just women, every single person should have autonomy in their life. And that's a bigger conversation. I think I'm going to do a podcast episode about the trad wife movement. I'm having lots of thoughts about that right now. But what I want to say in relation to that, in relation to these affirmations, in relation to accepting wealth and abundance that's trying to flow to you, every situation is going to look different. So you need to be clear in your own journal, in your own brain, where am I blocking money flowing to me? And do I believe that money can come to me a bunch of different ways, not just in the ways that I'm hustling and grinding for? Because what also happens here too is if you own your own business, you make your business harder. That's what I did at the beginning of my business, right? I made my business hard because I felt like I had to work so much harder than I was before to make a lot more money than I was before. When I was like, no, if I just work in an aligned way and I make things easy for myself, more money can flow to me, which means I have more capacity and space to be able to serve at a higher level. And that's lovely, right? So making more money is easy and enjoyable. But also, what are the other ways money can come to you? Do you accept all of the wealth and abundance that this world has to offer? I gratefully accept all of the wealth and abundance this world has to offer. The other thing I want you to do here is I gratefully accept all the wealth and abundance the world has to offer. You already have wealth and abundance. Where do you already have wealth and abundance? Right? Like gratitude is something that's just like said, and it just kind of, it sounds like white noise now, like be grateful, have gratitude, all that stuff. But it's like, no, actually being like, wow, like sitting with, I do this all the time in my apartment. I'm obsessed with my apartment here. And I just sit and I'm like, oh my God, I love that I get to live here. What an incredible apartment. Wow. Like, look at my view. Look at the abundance. And I'll like look at every single item in my apartment. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm so wealthy. I have so much abundance, right? So where can you go find evidence that you're already experiencing wealth and abundance and be grateful for it? So this affirmation has two different flavors. I gratefully accept all the wealth and abundance the world has to offer me. This could be a flavor of, I want to focus on the grateful, the gratitude part of this affirmation. Or I gratefully accept all the wealth and abundance the world has to offer me. So then you can focus on the offer part of like, where am I allowing the world to offer me wealth and abundance? Where are the avenues, right? And then you could also focus on the accept piece. Where do I feel like I don't deserve or I'm not worthy of accepting gratefully all the wealth and abundance that the world has to offer me? You could also define wealth and abundance. What does wealth and abundance actually mean? I was talking to a client yesterday and we were talking about wealth, and she was like, she took an income cut in order to make a life transition, knowing that this income cut, it would be like slingshot energy. She'd take an income cut just for a bit, and then that would like propel her forward, right, into living a life she actually desired. She was making more money, being burnt out, hating her job. So it was like, well, the happiness is the most important key. So like, let's go to the happiness piece. So she was kind of like pulling herself back, took a pay cut. And then she was like, I miss being wealthy. And I'm like, well, what does wealthy mean? What does like having wealth mean? And she was like, I don't actually know. And I was like, so let's define what that means. So what we were talking about was like, she already has a fully funded retirement account. She owns a home, and she's able to like take some time right now to like even take a pay cut and support herself, like maybe not even making money for a season, to be able to figure out what she wants to do. That's a wealthy woman to me. That's what wealth means to me. But for her, she was like, oh, I actually think that wealth to me means that I can buy whatever and spend on whatever and like use money without really having to think about it because it's always there. It's always like coming in consistently in a paycheck. And I'm like, okay, do you like that definition of wealthy though? Like you get to decide what wealthy means to you. So wealth and abundance, maybe you need to get clear on what those actually mean. You gratefully accept all the wealth and abundance the world has to offer you. Maybe you've been so focused on the literal dollar part of wealth and abundance, and you've forgotten that wealth and abundance can come in a bunch of different ways. It can come through really cool opportunities. It can come through relationships. It can come through, there's that thing where it's like, if you feel like you don't believe in abundance, or it is feeling hard for you, go out and like look at all the leaves on the trees. Like abundance is everywhere. So you might even need to broaden your definition of wealth and abundance in order to give your brain an easier way into the affirmation, and then attach dollars in when it starts to feel true and easy. Okay. So again, that affirmation for today is, I gratefully accept all of the wealth and abundance the world has to offer me. Okay, y'all, that is day 10. I love that notion. Need to relook at my definitions. Yes, this is what we were talking about, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. Your brain will like tell you things with like absolute certainty, but then when you ask it to like define it or tell you why, it starts to be like, wait, what? No, that's not, no. And it's like, no, back it up. What's your definition? What do you mean? Why do you believe that? Right? So it's like interrogating your brain a little bit of like, what is your definition? I actually think that would be fun today. That'll be a fun journaling prompt for me today, to be like, what, at this point in my life, what does wealth and abundance mean to me? What are those definitions? The other thing, this is a fun thing too with definitions. If there's a word that triggers you or hits you in a way, like hits the ear wrong, like if you think, like the word rich does this to a lot of people. You think like, I'm rich, rich people, rich girl energy, rich. Sometimes that can hit the ear different, right? And not in a super positive way. And so defining what rich means. Oh, this is such a good exercise. Okay, so when you think about the word rich, when you think about wealthy, when you think about those people, right, who have money, define it. Define it. What's the dollar amount? Is it someone who makes a certain amount per year? And what amount is that? Right? So like, give it a benchmark. So for example, I had a client who said they were like $1 million. And I'm like, $1 million a year, $1 million in net worth, $1 million in their retirement account that's projected for when they retire, $1 million in generational wealth that's circulating in the family, $1 million business, someone who makes $1 million a year in their business in revenue, someone who has $1 million profit or like payroll from their own business, someone who's made $1 million in their business in its lifetime. Like $1 million has so many definitions. So get clear. Another client was like, okay, if I had to think about like wealthy, that would be someone who makes $250,000 a year. That's when they cross over. And I'm like, okay, so someone who makes $249,000 a year would not be in that tier. And she was like, well, yeah. And I'm like, okay, 240 then. She's like, well, yeah, 240. Okay, 235. Are they still in that echelon? And she's like, well, so do you see how then when you try and actually put a label on it, like your brain is telling you there's a binary. There's wealthy and there's not wealthy. There's rich and there's not rich. There's those people and then there's me. Then there's us. But with that binary, there's an off and on switch. Right? Of like, yes and no. You are or you aren't. But when you try and ask your brain, what's that switch? What's that level? It short circuits. Because then it's like, well, sort of, but not really, but only if this. But it's like, but if I had that kind of money, I wouldn't be that person. Or like, sometimes I'll have them imagine like someone close to them who they really love and admire. If they had that amount of money, would that mean they're one of those people? One of those bad rich people? Usually the answer is no. And what this is doing is it's highlighting like the tie we have between how much money a person has or experiences and the kind of person that they are. There isn't really a tie. So money is just an expander. It's just it's like a highlight. It's like a spotlight. So the more money you have, the more it just expands what's already going on inside of you. Right? So when we're thinking about like being rich and being wealthy, like it's a sliding scale, but like you get to decide what wealthy means for you. So where are you wealthy right now? Where are you abundant right now? Or what is the level that your brain is telling you equals you are wealthy and you are abundant? Let's poke holes in your brain's logic so that then you get to decide what the definition is. Because a lot of times too, you'll decide the benchmark of like what it means to be wealthy or what it means to be rich. Like if I make this much, then I'm going to feel total financial freedom. And I'm going to tell you right now, that number comes and usually does not come with the feelings that you think it will give you, right? Whether that be a certain number in your savings account, a business benchmark, right? A certain amount of paycheck. You're like, and this is when I'll never have to worry about money again. This is when I'll never have to like really, nickel and dime is a phrase I've heard a lot in my coaching calls recently. They're like, I'm afraid I'm getting too nickel and dimey, or I'm afraid I'm going to become someone who like nickel and dimes. And I'm like, are you nickel and diming, or are you just making responsible financial decisions? Are you nickel and diming, or are you just thinking about your dollars? Are you nickel and diming, or are you just aware of what's happening with your money and making decisions that feel good to you? That's different. Nickel and diming is like frugal miser Scrooge energy. Being financially aware and making financial decisions is what badasses with money do, what financial CEOs do. You're never going to reach an income level where you don't have to make financial decisions. So I wanted to throw that phrase out there because I've heard it from 3 different clients this week specifically. It's like come up in different conversations. Nickel and diming is different than being aware of your money. Okay, off my tangent. Affirmation today, final day, was I gratefully accept all of the wealth and abundance the world has to offer me. Thanks so much for tuning in. Come join me on Instagram for more on how to build a simple, sexy relationship with your money. My Instagram handle is @NotStarvingArtists. And if you want to dive deeper with me, head to the show notes to learn more about one-on-one coaching. If you love this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend that you want to get rich with.